Chapter 15. Breakfast. Blue's Point of View. The tests come one after the other, but they're easier to spot now. My mind is awake and I'm ready. I cannot be caught up in memories. I have to serve Master. He's testing my ability to serve him, to anticipate his needs and desires. I notice that there's more than enough of every dish to make a couple servings. He wants to see how much of what I put on his plate, how well I can judge his tastes, even from the little I know about him. I take a more than generous scooping of the hot and fluffy eggs, scrambled to a perfection that would have put Chef into an ecstasy. Next comes the potatoes, chopped finely into cubed bits and seasoned generously for the morning meal. Master is tall. He has a fair deal of muscle, which is unusual for a wizard, but not unheard of. He probably uses the energy quite easily and enjoys his indulgences. I place a hearty amount of little cubed masses at the other side of the plate. Even if he thinks it's too much, I think he'd appreciate the excuse to enjoy the excess starch. There is fruit, next chopped and fresh, a medley of melon and small, dark berries. I startle for a moment at that. How could I forget the name of those berries? I stare, begging the memory to come back to me. All my time in the kitchen as a child, learning exactly what needed to be brought to and fro. I guess I had to put the memory to learning other things. I place the colorful melon and berries in a tasteful arrangement to give a nicely color-assorted plate, as well as a tasty plate. No sense being sloppy. I place the bread slices to keep the sweet from touching the savory, and a few strips of fried meat go at the other end to break up the monochrome of the egg and potato. I'm satisfied with my analysis of his desires, and I've made the plate look as presentable as possible, so I go back and kneel for him, presenting my work. My heart soars when he praises me. I know I've done something right. He liked my work, and I preen, but he does not take the plate. He asks what I'm doing, and that I have no answer for. I can only stutter stupidly as I describe the actions in front of him, bracing for a smack at the insinuation that Master doesn't understand what's happening. Perhaps this is another type of test. He's making sure I have a sense for propriety. Some exceptionally stupid pets would think that because they put work into something, they're deserving of some type of compensation. I've been taught better than this. I'm frankly insulted that he would take me for one so truly uneducated, though I do suppose I came across as rather untrained in our first few encounters. This type of idiocy is not on the same level. Master's table, Master's food, and Master's cooking. Though that last one is fairly rare, I do know exactly who all of this belongs to, including myself. I hold up the plate, allow my head to tilt and eyes to blink innocently up, batting my lashes as I do so. I should be making a pretty cute picture. Any moment now, Master will give up this silly game and see that I'm worthy. He'll take his meal, and I can focus on being quiet by his feet. If I stretch just across his feet, I know that I can make it to where the sunlight streams into the room. My arms ache from the suspended position, and I realize with a start what other kind of test this could be. He has let me hold his plate for so long that he must have thought I did not intend to give it to him. Immediately my face burns at the realization. I came to him and presented my work like a toddler needing praise. I should have just set it down in front of him. Though that isn't quite proper either. Technically I should not be allowed to handle Master's food, though it appears the house is running with no other staff today. I curse myself for my stupidity. It's probably the rest day. I've spent too much time in the dark of the holding pens. There, time becomes wonky. The hours of day and night get confused, and nothing really makes sense after a while. But if it is already the rest day, then it makes sense that all of his servants would be out. All duties fall to me. Blue? I hear Master's rumbly voice. He sounds hesitant. I wonder why. I had intended for you to make a plate for yourself at breakfast. As he says it, his lips quirk up in a half-smile. His tone is that of a mother chiding her babe for smashing together two pieces of a puzzle that simply cannot fit together. This is a joke. It has to be. I cannot take food from Master's table, especially when Master has not taken food from the table yet. I feel a dark and shameful urge to curl up and whimper, protect my vital organs from... I have to do this right, even if it is a little late. I jump up and place the plate down in front of Master's chair, take the napkin from his setting, and crouch under the table to place it on his lap. It doesn't hurt that from under the table he can't get a good hit with his fist, and his leg doesn't have much room to swing either. Blue? Please, Master. I can hear the blood roaring in my head as I've just interrupted Master, but I have to try to defuse this situation. Please, I know I'm slow, but I only wish to serve you well, Master, please. My voice is pathetic, my actions more so. I do not deserve the pity I am pleading for. I know that. I can only hope that this kind and generous Master does not. His chair scoots out a ways and I brace myself, but his hands come under my arms and pull me up, not raining down on me like they should. I don't like that he can feel my trembling against him. He pulls me into his lap. My face presses into his chest. I lie to myself and try to rationalize the action. This position makes me seem endearing, makes sure that I do not make eye contact with him. But at the press of my body against his solid warmth and his calming scent, I know I am fooling no one. I'm only comforting myself, hoping this could be misconstrued as anything else, as purely wishful thinking. Master allows his chin to rest on my head and just sits with me for a few minutes, rubbing small circles into the unbandaged patches of my back, as I try my best to summon the words for an apology. After many aborted starts, I resign myself to silence, and wait for Master to grow bored of me in his lap, toss me to the side, push me across the room as he did before. But nothing of the sort happens, and when the moment is broken, it is broken by words, not action. Blue. I nod against his chest and make a soft humming sound that seems to be all my body is capable of at the moment. Blue, you're doing very well. The plate you made looks absolutely lovely. Thank you. But I need to make sure you are taken care of too, okay? So I need you to make a plate for yourself. Okay? He speaks so softly, with such calm, that it seems he truly means what he's saying. I had hoped this Master was not interested in such games. I don't raise my head from his chest. I have every intention to leech every moment of this that will be allowed. Master, I strain to think of a good response, one that he will accept. You have not eaten, Master. It would be very improper to eat before you. His hand strokes the back of my neck, carding through the lowest bits of my hair. I have to suppress a shiver at his touch. It feels good, but I know how easily he could turn his hands to violence. I think this is a bad angle for strangulation, at least. There are a few beats of silence, then. I don't know how my words have been taken, if they're what he wanted to hear or just further proof of my insolence. Eventually, though, he speaks. Blue, I don't have very strict rules on that. Really, I would much prefer if you eat with me. I don't really enjoy eating alone. I can't help but look up at him. Such a blatant breach of rules is inconceivable in my mind, but Master seems so sincere, and if it would truly make him happy... Here, since you were so kind as to make my plate, I will make yours. He stands then, supporting me with his hands and setting me down in his chair as he goes about the table, spooning more than generous servings of food onto my plate. He sets the plate down in front of the chair beside his and motions for me to take my place. Following the inherent order, in a daze, I move to the chair. I keep my feet underneath me in a modified, relaxed kneel because I cannot bring myself to sit. Being on furniture is only allowed when we're being displayed, and I just can't relax knowing how many rules I'm breaking at once. Master doesn't seem to mind. When I take my seat, he smiles and starts on his meal. I am left to pick up the fork next to my plate and begin eating beside my master.